Yeah, I don't have anything clever to say. You saw the title. I've fallen out of love with video games, and it sucks. There's just a spark that's not there anymore. Don't get me wrong, I still like games. There's specific video games that I like, and I can play them over and over and over again. But my little sphere of those games that I like feels like it's getting smaller and smaller in the wake of an industry that is somehow both getting larger and infinitely smaller. Like, I'll see video game ads. I notice the Game Awards are happening. There's always activity happening about video games or because video games, but I just don't care anymore, frankly. There's no hype left. Gaming journalists who barely play games will dogpile to award the most popular thing on the list. When I see a trailer for a video game, it's gonna be 6 years until I play it, and it's either going to be acceptable as another game or a complete mess upon release. Sometimes it's both of those things, if you believe cyberpunk fans. I am, of course, talking mostly about AAA games. Indie games are subject to their own criticisms, things like early access, but I'm willing to cut them slack because their teams are small, sometimes as small as a single person. I'm not a wildly successful streamer, but I am very lucky to have the community that I do, and I would not trade my experiences on the platform for anything. But in the ever-present fight to remain relevant on Twitch, I bump shoulders with a lot of new releases, and I'm just so done with it. I don't know when I became this grumpy old man, but I think the change was somewhere a couple weeks ago when I was thinking to myself, this is a pretty entertaining Indiana Jones movie. Too bad there's gameplay in it. This isn't supposed to be a video essay. I'm not here to say something new or profound or speculate on why I think AAA game development is unsustainable. There are other channels for that who can do it a lot better than I can. I just want to know when I lost whatever it is that I lost. For the first time almost 2 years ago now, I didn't like a mainline Zelda game. When Breath of the Wild came out in 2017, it was my favorite game for years. Even now, it exists in the aforementioned tiny sphere of games that I just like and could play at any time. But Tears of the Kingdom is just not it for me. Fiddling with my controller for 45 minutes to sloppily put together a wagon that will fall apart when I roll it down a hill just angers me, in a similar way to those games like Getting Over It or I Am Bread. Certainly the more you love something, the more attention you pay to it, and this causes you to notice small things that can sometimes in the long run ruin something for you. Like gun enthusiasts noticing that the guns in The Walking Dead aren't actually firing at anything at all, or a history fan watching movies like Kingdom of Heaven, God forbid. Or, to take a completely random example, Zelda fans watching how menus in Tears of the Kingdom change categories with the shoulder buttons instead of the right stick, or even how all of these menus have a slight lag on them that Breath of the Wild didn't have, and it drives me insane.
Coincidence? I think not!
But the games themselves are not the only issue, right? I'm 32 now, and when I was a kid, there was so much experimentation and odd game design quirks that permeated the entire hobby. Game designers had to figure out how to make a game for this hardware and this hardware on 2 different storage mediums, and one of them had a controller that looks like this. Shooters look like this to me. Adventures look like this. Survival horror is this. The words RPG meant nothing to me at the time except that I got to name my character. Game design is so homogenized now, and in many ways is a good thing. I'm not a game developer, so I can hardly comment accurately on this, but I would speculate designing a video game for 2 different consoles that are both basically just computers is probably, I wouldn't say easier, but perhaps less of a hassle. But maybe they need that hassle. Without it, they chase photorealism and stretch development time for years beyond what I think is reasonable, for huge sums of money so I can watch my horse's balls shrink in real time. Shooters are this now, or this if you're feeling spicy. Adventure games are Dark Souls clones with checkpoints and respawning enemies. Survival horror is over the shoulder. Action games look like this. And do not get me started on what the industry has done to the poor RPG genre. Numbers, apparently, is what it takes to make your game an RPG, I guess. Your gun slapping numbers out of an enemy while they sit there and not react is the strangest thing I've ever seen. Like, come on, we had this down in GoldenEye. Final Fantasy XVI is labeled as an RPG in a long-running RPG franchise, but it's more like a linear action game. Sure, I see a lot of numbers, but they don't really mean anything. I'm doing the exact amount of damage the devs want me to, because they put the exact enemies I needed to get to level 6, and made sure I had enough money to buy the 6th level sword. The role you've given me is boring and scripted, Square. I also feel like every AAA game these days has to be open world, and has to have crafting in it, in order for it to be counted is the new big thing. Was anyone's enjoyment of Elden Ring enhanced by the fact that they can go to a menu in Elden Ring and make some useless throwing bones? This in particular is funny to me because it's just one more tag away from the cursed runes of early access. All of this, of course, is a gross oversimplification, and I'm being deliberately mean to try to illustrate the point I think I have. But to raise an earlier point, this is what I mean by the gaming industry getting smaller. The more things change, the more things stay the same. Despite what is likely an all-time high for gaming since the COVID years. But again, this wasn't supposed to be a video about me getting mad at video games. I've done that a lot, and I mostly want to be done with it. I don't want to chase the newest releases anymore and compete with 10,000 other streamers for relevance on launch day. I want to play the games I remember making me happy. I might chase a new release this year if it really catches my eye, but I make no promises about playing it to the end. For now, I just plan on releasing one video a week, every Friday, in addition to my normal streams, which is on these days, if you can't remember. I also have a VODs channel and a bonus channel now. The bonus is being some storytime content and other non-gaming related videos. But the main videos will vary between essays and gameplay videos, sometimes post-commentary, sometimes live commentary. Mostly because I don't know what style I want to develop and I don't want to pigeonhole myself. If you have input on this, that's what the comments are for. Please have input on this. I want to know what you guys want to see. And I'm just going to play what I want, basically. And I'm going to try to make it entertaining for both of us. If you let me know what your favorite games of the past are, I'd like to make an effort to try those as well. I want to see more than just my perspective on this. I won't be able to get to all of them, just the nature of time. Not by the end of 2025 anyway. But this is going to be my biggest undertaking yet. And I hope you're all eager to be along for the ride. What could possibly go wrong?